Oh, I know this. I've learned that.
There we go. Everybody see the shared slide there, the intro to channeling slide? Yeah, okay, thanks. All right, guys. Well, welcome to the intro to channeling workshop for today. I do appreciate you so much supporting the launch of this ongoing program. Today is a free workshop on really the fundamentals of channeling, the way I've come to see them. But also this is the launch of more workshops and a ongoing monthly program, which I've waited for a long time to launch, and now it really feels like it's the right time. So I appreciate not only your support, but I want to acknowledge you for the support that you're creating for yourselves. By stepping forward into this kind of information, and then the idea of then taking it forward, and then as we're just talking about before the call started, helping other people and helping the people around you, and maybe even moving into a business with channeling or some form of exploration of that. It's very powerful. And the world is opening up like crazy, and they don't have the support. Their old systems are not working. And so now the new world order, which is always the law of one, is now coming back to reality, us being in alignment with ourselves. And then as we channel ourselves and become the best version of ourselves, then that influences those who are lost to help find themselves, and so on and so on. And before you know it, we've infected the world with positive energy to the point where people are coming from an aligned state of being. And I can't wait for that to happen. So most of you know me, but my name is Kevin Young. I'm an intuitive coach, former tech guy, uplifter of people as much as possible. I've had a couple of channeling sessions call me a shepherd, and that's pretty accurate. I love bringing people like you together so you know you're not alone in this journey, and that you can communicate with each other. Part of the monthly program will be setting up communication so you guys can work together on your own to build your own gifts if you want. So that's my passion and purpose, help the world uplift itself one step at a time. And so the channeling chats themselves, this is sort of an ongoing series, I'm calling it. This is the first one called the Intro to Channeling. The idea is to have ongoing monthly, maybe programs, 90 minutes or so, sort of workshops and Q&A. I really like the free flow format. And of course, I got a ton of information I want to share. But I also, I found that people get the most benefit if we're just like with coaching, we're more as much dancing in the moment and answering questions, asking questions, and communicating, so so that I'm not presuming to tell you what I think you should know, but rather you're asking for what is most important to you in the process. So that being said, feel free to ask a question, raise your hand in Zoom if there's something that's you don't understand, or maybe you want to contribute to. And you can also do that in the chat window. I assume everybody knows how to get to the chat window on your system. Feel free to comment in there as much as you want. And you can also use little reactions icons where you can put something on your window like, yeah, thumbs up, I agree, or yes, I love that thing. The reactions window is also where the raise hand button is. Don't confuse it with the little wavy hand. They look almost the same, but they don't do the same thing. Because I get a notification in the window over here when you've raised your hand, so that I can call on you and we can have that back and forth. So future topics that I want to talk about before we get into this here are getting into how to release the fears around becoming a channel or stepping into business. We all have childhood traumas. All of us have some version of PTSD and triggers and things that prevent us from moving forward. And those can all be overcome. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be forced. We can allow them to come up and be released. And so that's a really important part of what we'll be doing. How to deepen the channeling state, practice sessions, as I mentioned, getting over imposter syndrome, getting validation that what you're doing is actually valid, that there's power behind your abilities, and that in fact, if they're coming through you to another individual or even to yourself, they are valid. And you'll prove that to yourself as you do it more and more. It's just a kind of it's something that you have to be willing to practice and try. How to go into business, overcoming the fear about that, all the mechanics of businesses, which doesn't have to be hard to get started. how to set pricing, how to attract clients, and most importantly, how to have fun as a spiritual healer. Because the whole point of this, and when my business, each moment that it really took off to the next level was when I let go of trying to figure out how to make it go to the next level and just had fun doing what I was doing right now and playing with the people that I wanted to play with right now, and not doing the things I thought I had to do to get to that next level, but just doing the fun thing now. And then the inspiration comes because you've opened up the channel. It's kind of counterintuitive to mainstream thinking, which tends to be around effort and force, but that's not how it works. And I know you guys know better. So for today, we will be starting off with a guided meditation. Those of you who are in the Lightwork Exchange are pretty familiar with these. The idea of the guided meditation is for you to just chill out and relax and to let the vibrations kind of come up and synchronize. So we'll have the best experience if we're tuned more and more to the same frequency. The fact that you're on this call means you're tuned to very similar vibrations. Law of attraction wouldn't allow you to be here otherwise. So we will start in with that, invite in our support teams. We'll talk about the emotional guidance system and law of attraction, which are integral to you leveraging the power of the universe to help you move forward easily, and how to know that you're going in the direction that's right for you. We'll talk about what is channeling, a lot of definitions, and how you can improve your channeling abilities. Talk about going into business. There's a number of things to. Sometimes when we talk about business, people, their eyes glaze over and they pass out from the potential complexity and the fear of going to business. But getting started is actually really easy. You only need a few things to get going. So we'll lay some of that out so that if you're ready to start offering what you can do to others on a trial basis, that you'll be able to do that. And then open discussion and do a Q&A. And also, as I said before, that I want the Q&A to be an ongoing thing. If you get stuck on an idea and it's not making sense, don't be afraid to ask a question. Okay, this is a safe environment. There's no dumb questions. If you're coming up with something you don't understand, there's a good chance that somebody else on the call doesn't understand it as well. And so you'll be doing them a favor as well as yourself if you ask the question. And like I said, either in the chat window or in the raising the hand, either one is just fine. And I'll try to keep an eye on the chat window. I'm sure Suzanne will let me know if I miss somebody. She's pretty good at that. And then we'll wrap up. And I'll tell you a little bit about the monthly program then at that point. So I think, oh yeah, and please keep muted unless you're in active conversation, just so you don't have the background noise. And if you're not on video and you want to come on video, be sure you don't have, underwear hanging in the background or something you don't want us all to see. I have been on calls where it was done in a bathroom or a kitchen, and all sorts of interesting things were going on in the background. So
what's bad? It was my underwear. That's the bad part.
Well, I didn't mind that part, but probably other people did. So we are recording for later availability. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet. There's a bunch of different ways of sharing it out, but I've got all your email addresses, so I'll let you know when the recording becomes available. Are there any questions before we get going on that? It's pretty straightforward, eh? All righty. So let's get into our guided meditation. So nothing you have to do here. Those of you who have been on the Lightwork Exchange calls know it's just about chilling out, relaxing, and just opening up your channel as much as you want, as much as you can. So we sit back and relax into the chair or the bed or wherever you're at. Just get comfortable, make your adjustments so you feel really relaxed and grounded. We'll probably go in the neighborhood of 10 minutes, but I never know because the guidance starts to come through and I just like to follow that. So as we close our eyes, take a nice deep breath in. Hold it and exhale, breathing that air completely out of our lungs. Breathe in again. And on the exhale, we begin gently releasing our thoughts, stepping out of time, moving into the present now moment. And one more time. And as we breathe out, we notice the mind just freeing up, Feeling relaxation kind of overtaking us. And as our mind likes to think, we just observe the thinking and don't engage in the actual thoughts themselves and just watch them kind of float on by like little clouds. Just becoming the observer of our bodies, observers of the breath. And if the mind starts to wander off, we bring the focus back to the breath, noticing the breath moving in through the nose, down the back of the throat, into the lungs, and back out again. Finding the natural speed, the natural rhythm of our breath, nice and slow and deep. Surrendering to the natural surrounding ebb and flow of universal consciousness. Enjoying that sensation of being gently carried down the stream towards the vortex of our desires, towards source consciousness. Just relaxing, allowing, releasing. Imagining a golden ball of relaxation energy just over the top of our heads, opening up the crown chakra and just inviting it in, slowly relaxing the muscles around the face and the head, moving down into the neck, pouring into the shoulders, down the back, down the arms, out the hands and fingertips. It's like a warm, gently moving stream. Into the lungs and the heart space, feeling the heart center open up, feeling emotions of this beautiful experience together. Such deep love is here for us already. Feeling it move down into the abdomen, pelvic floor, hips. Feeling the root chakra relax and open up. Slowly moving down the thighs, past the knees, legs, feet, and out the bottoms of the feet, connecting in with the planet. Just feeling that pure flow of energy flowing through our entire bodies down to the core of the planet, being cleansed and reflected back up through the body, back out to source, and down again through the body, down into the planet, and just feeling this natural cycle continue on in the background at the perfect speed, absorbing the beautiful energy of the planet as the energy comes back up, feeling the cleansing occurring, noticing the beautiful energy of source coming back down in, and being this beautiful wide open conduit of this energy flowing up and down, nice and slow, lighting up each cell from the inside out, feeling the bright shininess of alignment across the trillions of cells. Trusting in the energy that's flowing through us, feeling the reconnection to source, the reconnection to our inner being, fully manifested in energetic form. Feeling the beautiful connection to the others here are on the same frequency. Feeling us all floating in the same energy field. Just enjoying the support. Trusting that we're going to get everything that we're ready to receive. And letting go of anything that isn't meant for us. We invite in our support team. And we open up to receive them. Just noticing them around us, feeling so loved and supported by them. Eager to answer our questions, eager to move things around in our energetic universal field so that we can manifest the things that we want. We can ask our support team whatever we want. Maybe we want answers on how to connect, how to open up our channel. Maybe we want answers on what to do next. Just tune into that And we relax and get out of the frequency of the question and just become present in the now moment. Feel that beautiful heart space opening up of perfect allowing. And when we are ready, the answers will show up. No rush, just enjoying the process of being. And as we go even deeper now, we allow ourselves to feel the fullness of this energy that wants to flow us and to us and through us in the channeling form. Allowing ourselves to open up to the channeled messages and the guides, the beings that want to come to us and be communicated through us, through our vocal cords, or maybe through other means of expression, maybe through art, maybe through music. Doesn't matter. Whatever is naturally resonant to you is the way that you will most perfectly express source energy as that you co-create with it. And feel those who are ready for your abilities. If you feel inspired to express yourself, if you're feeling eager to communicate with others and support them, all of that is the energy of those beings calling for you. Inspiration is a stream, and it's called for by those who are eager to receive it, and you are the channel who can allow it. We don't have to create it in any specific way. We don't have to figure out where they are or what they need. We only have one job, and that's to come into alignment with who we are, what inspires us from the inside, what excites us from the inside. And in the opening up and the expansion of that energy, we become a lighthouse of energy in the non-physical world, and those who are looking for us will get the inspired thoughts to find us. No effort at all. Feel that eagerness they have to work with you and to receive your abilities, your unique talents, exactly as you are. Feel the love and appreciation they have for you in stepping into your calling and your passion. And feel the love and support of your non-physical team, this ocean of all consciousness, which is here to help you along your journey in whatever way is best for you. It was part of our non-physical agreement before we came into the physical world. I will jump in to the fast-moving stream, and you will stay behind and support me in the awakening back to where I came from. And in the process, all of us will expand, and nothing can go wrong. It's perfect evolution. We relax and allow that perfection to pervade our beings. And we own that perfection, and we cannot get it wrong. The fact that you are here means you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Allow that in. You are perfect, and where you are is perfect. You cannot get it wrong. So we feel the depth of the chasm of universal energies. Feel the immensity of the love that they have for us. We feel the bigness of our souls because we are not separate from all that is. We are a stream of the ocean of all consciousness, just as valid and equal as any other stream, and connected to all of it. Allow the immensity of your being to become present in your awareness. And you can come back to this energy field anytime you want. as you move forward with the hours and days to come, treat yourself to this connection. And allow yourselves to open up to this energy that's always here, always present. Just by tuning to the radio station, boom, it's always right there. And allow it to become your waking state experience. Allow it to become who you are. Meditation in a form of awareness. Taking the now moment with you everywhere that you go. Trusting the impulse will take you to the next exciting manifestation and the next and the next. The perfect unfolding. And although we could stay in this state for the next hour and a half, we've got some fun to have. So it's time to gently move our attention out of the multidimensional realm and bring it back below the veil of third-dimensional consciousness into the bodies that we're currently inhabiting, while still maintaining that open channel to higher consciousness. So we can play at the highest frequency today. And as you come into your bodies, there's no rush. Start to feel your bodies, your arms and legs and fingers and toes. Becoming present, then aware, and whenever you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And take a moment to get reacclimated to the physical. Because it can be a bit of a shift when we move from there to here and here to there. Over time, it becomes easier, though. You move to a state of more awareness, more presence, and less stress. And then you start to ride higher on the wave of consciousness, not dipping as deeply into the challenges. And being guided in each now moment by the next impulse, and then the next, and the next. You really can get to a heaven on earth scenario, though it will never be perfectly smooth because we came here to dive deep and create the new awarenesses, and that requires going into the negative, but we don't have to stay there. That's the magic of this whole process. And that's part of what this group is about. So let's do a little debrief before we move on to guidance. Anybody have a experience you'd like to share? Did you see anything? You have visions, colors? Did you receive any words? Sometimes a sentence will just pop out in the middle of a meditation. That happens to me often when I'm in that relaxed state. I'll suddenly get the answer to something, or I'll hear a message. And you can type it in the chat, or if you want to just come on and share it, I'm open. I could feel your energy, guys. It was hard to stop the meditation. I'll just tell you that right now. So I felt like we could go on for another hour. Hey, Anneli, go ahead.
Hey, I have a person who has been very close to me my whole life, since the day I was born. She turned 100 years young last year.
Wow.
And she died last week. So she passed on, and she was very present.
Wow.
Yeah, like all the time through the meditation. I'm sorry, I'm tearing up here. But I could feel her, and I could see her, and I could see her through all her ages.
Ooh.
So it was like, I mean, I've known her for so many years, but I could even see her earlier on, before I was born.
Wow.
And she was smiling, and she was loving. Her loving energy was so present.
Beautiful.
It was beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. That's often when we start down this path of opening up to the channeling consciousness. We'll talk about what channeling is, because it's really very broad, and that includes talking to those who are have been with us, either maybe we've never physically met, but we know they're there spiritually, or that we've lived with, is one of the first things that often happens is somebody who's been important in our lives will show up. And because it's the path of least resistance for us, they're all available, but our energy field is stronger around those people. So it's natural that that door would open up for you. And I think that's just so magical. Thank you for sharing that, Anneli. Well, so it doesn't have to be a connection with a person. Like, what did you see? What did you feel? Hey, Pat.
Hi, my experience was interesting. I've told you about ascending to see these people. They came down. I felt the energy shift, and they were all around me. They had their hands on my shoulders and my arms, and just pure love, pure love. Yeah. And so that was a really positive experience for me.
Did you, so this is like some like spiritual guides or a sport team of some sort?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
And they come through in your Reiki, as I recall, as well. You
Yes.
get, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. This is the one though that I saw and that has never. I can't hear them. I don't know who they are, but they just that group of entities descended around me, and that's the first time it's ever come into that close a contact. So
Wow.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice opening. Swetha. Hello.
Yeah, hi. So it's been a while that I felt like in a long time peaceful mind. So it's been few days, and it's like I felt such a calm and peaceful energy, and suddenly I also felt this playful energy because so when I'm in pure alignment, I had been receiving such a playful energy, but I myself am like in a very positive state and very playful. So it's been off for a few days, and suddenly in the meditation, it was something like I felt that energy, and then I felt my dad as well, dad and grandmom who transitioned. It was very subtle, but then I realized it. Yeah,
I know your dad's pretty close energetically
yeah,
too. Yeah.
yeah.
Yay.
Thank
Congratulations.
you, thank you.
Such a beautiful thing. The reason I love these debriefing around the meditations is it helps us to first share such beautiful experiences, but then also part of stepping into this realm of connectivity is we got a lot of doubt because the environment, society, this is weird stuff to most people still. But it just to validate that we all have the ability to connect to the non-physical realm. It's just a frequency. And a lot of you guys are really tuned to it, and the fact that you're playing with it now and allowing it to come through in even stronger ways. I mean, this is my passion, is doing what we're doing here, helping facilitate this, stepping into this connection, be that blended being that we are. So who else? Anybody else want to share something about your experience? It doesn't have to be connecting with somebody. Just physical sensations are good, by the way. If you feel tingling in your body, or sometimes like I get energy in my hands. I've never done Reiki, but I have Reiki hands. I have a lot of energy flows through me in that way. When I move into a higher frequency that I haven't been to before, I will feel that sensation moving through the body.
I have to say that this is the first time, and I've, how many meditations I've listened to every Thursday night through you, but this is the first time I had tingling in my hand. So I thought, woohoo! I know you can do it, but
yeah,
it was fun to have that feeling. Like, yay!
How interesting that just came out of my mouth too.
Yeah, occult law of attraction. So
if you guys haven't been on these calls before, one of the things you'll find is that as we move into this synchronized frequency, that oftentimes one person will say something another person is going to say, or one idea will come up and the other person already knew about it or whatever. This is when we're on, remember that, I don't know if you guys all know this, but when we think thoughts, we're not actually, the brain isn't actually calculating and creating things. The brain is a radio transmitter. Thoughts actually think independently of us, and we tune the frequency to the thought stream that we want to experience. Law of attraction brings the thoughts to us. Even our memories are not local to the brain. We have wiring that the brain cells change into frequencies that actually then pull the energy from our local consciousness field. So all we have to do is set the frequency of intention. This is what we're doing today, and then we can often get the same thought streams. And you're going to see that throughout this whole conversation today. Just magical stuff. Anybody else before we move on here?
I'll share.
Hey, Madison.
Hi. I feel like recently I've been doubting my experiences that I've been having. And while we were meditating, I just like briefly kind of like like three like little flashes of experiences that I've had, like really like profound experiences that were like, yes, keep going, you're doing this right, / like connections to something greater than myself or maybe other people. And so I felt like it kind of made me think of like what's the Stooge where he has to like go back and look at his memories and like his spirits like guide him to see. It's like little glimpses of like your past. Is anybody, I'm forgetting the name of the movie. Anyway, but it was like little like just glimpses. So that was pretty powerful. But then I also wanted to say yesterday, and pardon my French, but this is literally the thought that came in my mind. I was like, it would be fucking cool to channel. And 2 hours later, you texted me, hey, sorry, last minute, I didn't think of you, but I thought I would reach out and see if you wanted to join. So I don't think that was an accident.
There are no accidents. Nice creation, Madison. Oh God, I get a little chill when you told me that. Thanks for sharing that, and absolutely, man, you're so on the leading edge right now. Very excited for you. Anyone else before we move on? Hard to beat all that. Well, it gets better. All right, well, let's see where we go. And like I said, jump in anytime if you've got a question or you want to add a comment to what we're going to talk about. So we're going to cover a lot in a little amount of time, and I'm going to really try hard to keep myself a bit restrained because I can talk all day on this stuff. So let's get into one of my favorite topics, and those of you who have worked with me will know why. Emotional guidance and law of attraction. So most of you have probably seen this scale from Abraham Hicks. You may not be able to see it if you're on a phone. This is the infamous emotional scale from the book Ask and It Is Given by Jerry and Esther Hicks, published I think in 2004 maybe. And this is the basic scale of emotions. I know most of you are familiar with this, so I'm only going to just do a quick overview. Where we focus is what we feel in the body if we're tuned into our emotions. When we're focused in harmony with the inner being, the higher part of ourselves, the non-physical part, we're up here at the top because there's no frequency variance. But as our brain starts to wander or gets caught in lower frequencies, negative emotions, maybe surrounding, then we tend to drop. So the emotions are telling us we're just thinking thoughts that are a little bit farther off, or maybe a lot farther off than what our inner being's thinking about that same topic. It's just the amount of separation. There's no penalty. We're not doing anything wrong. So if you're down in anger or frustration or fear or powerlessness way down at the bottom, it just means that the thoughts you're thinking in that now moment are way off from what your inner being knows is true for you on that topic in that now moment. And so it's challenging. The system's real simple. Just do what feels good, and you'll get feeling good impulses, and good feeling things will be reflected back to you through a law of attraction, live happily ever after. But the problem, many of the things that we run into are the fact that we can't feel our feelings a lot of the time, or we've numbed them through either chemical means, or in my case, and a lot of us, you just numb. The solar plexus is the organ of nerves right kind of by the heart, which feels emotion. That's what tells us what the emotions are. And you can numb any organ in the body, just like when the body goes into shock, if you have an accident that's really traumatic physically to the body shuts down the feelings temporarily. Well, we do that emotionally too. And so suddenly you got no guidance. And so you move up into your brain and say, wow, God, it's the only way I can get around is by trying to think things through. But that's really the hard way of going about it. So a big part of the journey that the light worker takes, people like you guys, is to resensitize to what we're feeling and allow the really deep fears and the negative emotions, which we don't want to see because we know how painful they were. And our subconscious protects us. It keeps some stuff down. So sometimes it's hard to let them even come up. But through coaching and working together, we can create safe spaces so that those emotions come back up. So then we can start feeling again. And if we can start feeling again, we start getting guidance again. And the whole system starts to work to our benefit instead of to our, there's no real detriment, but it feels better than it was feeling. Because the other part of it is, of course, the law of attraction is attracting based on the frequency we're on. Wherever you're focused is we're sending out a frequency. The emotions tell us what the frequency is, looking at this chart. And law of attraction is attracting back things that'll match that same frequency. So if you're in joy and you stay there for any length of time, you build up a momentum of joy, and law of attraction starts to bring you thoughts, feelings, and eventually manifestations that match joy. And that will not stop growing until you change, maybe move into a different topic, maybe start thinking about something that's not working. Now you go back to a lower frequency, and then law of attraction starts to slowly pick up things at that frequency. If you're down at anger or rage or jealousy or even powerlessness, and you stay there for any length of time, the law of attraction just starts reinforcing that by bringing you manifestations that will match that. And it will not stop until you break your thought process, your focus. And there's lots of techniques to do that. Those are things that we can talk about here in upcoming series. And if you want to work with me privately, my clients on this call all know that's a big part of what we do, is get you back in touch with that guidance. And then laws of the universe become a lot more beneficial to us. So that's, we can go into a lot more detail on this, but I know you guys are pretty aware of how this works. But are there any questions or comments that you want to make around the scale, or about emotions, or tuning in, or anything coming up for you right now that you want to know more about? So you can either type it in the chat window, or you just want to come on the screen, go ahead and do so. It's pretty straightforward conceptually. A lot harder to buy into when you're in the middle of a mess in your life and you think, oh, I didn't create this. Yeah, you did. But you didn't mean to. It was part of your past programming. It was part of the programs that are still running, that are really embedded strongly in your brain. And that means that if you have the awareness that they are there, then now you can make changes. And it's a slow process sometimes, but just having awareness. So one piece of advice I'll give to people who are heading down this path and you feel stuck, the first and most important thing is to start becoming aware when you're thinking negatively. Doesn't mean you have to do anything, just start becoming aware. And you can, some people like to just catalog it. You know, you're 15 minutes into a phone call with your mom and you're having a big argument, and it's like, oh, yeah, I'm stuck in that negative pattern. I'm defensive. I'm feeling angry or defeated or hostile. Okay, awareness. Write it down. I had this experience and then it brought me to this emotion. And start noticing where those triggers are in your life, building the awareness of what brings me down. And then in the moment of awareness, now moving forward in future experiences, now you can start making choices. How do I want to react? Or maybe I don't want to engage with that person or that situation at all right now because I'm too vulnerable. Or maybe I want to face right into it and prepay better energy. Maybe I want to decide before I call mom, or I pick up the phone if she calls me, as an example. How do I want to feel? I want to feel empowered. I want to have a good experience. I want to communicate the best that I can. And I want to stay high in my vibration, regardless of the words that she says or the triggers that come up for me. And set that energy into motion and let law of attraction pick it up for a couple of seconds or even minutes if you can delay, and then go into it and notice how the conversation shifts. That's when you start to prove your power. pre-paving the energy and moving forward. Hey, Swetha, what's your question?
Yes, Kevin, I had a question. So it's like, so what about our day-to-day activities? Like sometimes the work which we are doing kind of be like mundane work, like regular work, and it pinches us off the emotional scale. Like we don't think about how we feel during our work time, like 9 to 5 or so. And then, so how do we, how do we solve this? Like, what can we do about this?
How would you like it to be?
I want my day to be excited. Like it should be like energetic, enthusiastic, like more of like a conversational and enjoyable. But I'm into the software job, and it'll be like kind of like coding work. So maybe
What do
is
you
it
like
like
about that?
I like building applications and developing applications, but it's sometimes it kind of it's like boring
So there's an awareness point right there. I'm going to interrupt you because this is a beautiful example. This is a perfect example. Okay. I asked you what you liked and you gave me about one sentence. And then you went to the default program, which is still dominant, but there's these other problems. And so that's the default frequency. It's frustrating or it's sometimes taxing. And so in that moment, then you shift back. What do I do? What do I like? And you milk what you like, and that pre-paves the energy moving forward. I like dealing with these problems. I like solving things. I like creating something new and interesting that's never been done before. I like contributing to the bigger experience that's going on here at the projects. I like interacting with people. I like the people that I'm around mostly and focus on the ones you like. And see, I was in the software development too, as you know, for many years.
Yes.
So I get it. It can be taxing. And if I'd known what I know now, then I could have pre-paved before I got into it the experience I want. So just those words that came out of your mouth and mine would be something you could do before you go to work. And then now momentum, the ball is starting to roll down the positive side of the hill, and there's a better chance that you will influence the people around you as well as yourself to create that actual experience. Because what happens for all of us, every single one of us, is if we don't do it intentionally, we anticipate it subconsciously. And when you anticipate it, you're still thinking, and guess what you're programming the universe to do? To bring us more of the program that we have running, oh, it's going to be hard, this is a challenge. So notice that, just see, again, this is applying for everybody. So this, again, it's a beautiful, absolutely perfect example for what we're talking about here. Choose to pre-pave the energy before going to work and see the best possible outcome, the most fun that you can have. Because you're a fun person. You love to laugh. You love to have fun. I know this about you. Don't let them pull you down.
Sure, Kevin. I got this. Prepayment. I have been doing that. So when it was in-person work, it was like always fun. But remote kind of like being at home and like working. So it's like it's going on a regular basis, like the default engine. So I have to shift that.
Yeah, so that's what you're doing. Even in this conversation, you're creating your own awarenesses through this dialogue. So you can be proud of that. And if you keep doing this intentional work of focusing on how you want it to feel before you move into it, then the job has to shift to match, and you will get back into a situation that feels more interactive personally, or whatever lights you up, even things you don't know about yet that the universe does, will be brought to you to amplify the good feeling that you're sending out to it.
Okay. Yeah.
How's that feel?
Yeah, that feels good. Yeah. So I'm like, I know this, why I'm not doing it. Like, it's like recreating. So you're recreating.
Don't ask that question. Don't ask that question. Why am I not doing it? Because that'll provide answers, which will keep you down in that frequency. How can I do it?
Yeah.
How can I do it? Nice and easy, ease and flow. Nothing serious is going on here.
Exactly.
Go out and be the real version of Swetha, and everything will work out.
Okay. Thank you,
Great question. I bet you answered that question up for everybody today. Everybody has that same thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else have a question before we move off of this? This is really central to the rest of it working. So it is important to understand the idea of emotional guidance and the idea that not only is this guiding us, but the energy that we're sending out is pre-paving our future. it is creating the pathways that we're going to go down. And so it pays to be intentional about today before you engage and before your anticipation of negative stuff starts to take effect, to choose how you want to feel. Can't get it wrong. All righty, well, let's say we move on here. Move past that. Oops, go back. There we go. So what even is channeling? So that's a big question. Let's turn this thing off so we can see each other. Channeling's got a lot of definitions. Some people in the earlier days, channeling was, because it was kind of weirder than it is now, according to the mainstream. And so it's either you're a normal human being or you go into this weird trance and spirits come through you. And there was nothing in between. But we're all channeling every day to varying degrees. We basically have two consciousnesses. We have the localized human brain, which started from birth and is dominant in us usually. It's louder than the other consciousness, which is source consciousness, our inner being, and by extension, all of source. Those are both present all the time. And the emotional scale determines how much of which one we are letting through. So when we are not in alignment with our inner being and we're feeling down and bad, then our brain is mostly active. When we've let go of that energy and we come back into alignment, we feel joyful, we feel passionate, we feel fun and appreciative, then source is flowing through us. And that's when we're channeling. And so but the brain is still somewhat active in those moments. So we're not purely connected, but we're mostly connected. When you're going through your day and having a good time and or out in nature having fun, you're mostly in that channel. And that is source. Your inner being is flowing through you. You're never having just one set of thoughts from either the brain or another set from the inner being, and by extension, higher self. You're always a blended being to some degree. So you got your hand on the valve, and your emotions tell you where you are in the valve. So what we're doing in terms of this definition of channeling is moving not only into alignment where we're in that really joyful, blissful state, but even going to the next step, which is where we start to take the brain and put it on a shelf. We really allow it to shut off and disconnect from it. The sort of the deepest version in my personal experience is trance channeling. That's what Esther Hicks does in a lot of the channels, the legacy channels from the past, like Lee Harris or Lee Carroll, Darryl Anka. All these people have been around 30 plus years doing this. They move into a trance state where they don't hear the words that are coming through. They feel the energy, but they're basically in a kind of a sleep state, a waking sleep state, so that their subconscious mind opens up to the blocks of thought that are coming through from non-physical, and their subconscious turns it into words. So that's kind of more the definition of channeling that we use in this workshop and in the work that this monthly program that I'm doing is more getting into that state. But just know that it's a valve, it's a radio dial. It's not a on or off kind of thing. But you will feel it when you move into the channeling state. Those on the call who have channeled, or even during the meditation, you felt the sudden drop in of a spiritual consciousness, then that's when the brain just kind of fell asleep for that moment. So it can feel like an on-off switch, but it's very gentle when it happens, and it's amazingly blissful. But you can be channeling when you are, you can be awake and channeling too. There are channels who don't want to let go of the conscious awareness. They can move far enough away from the stream that they're not involved. My friend Daniel Scranton, who does daily channelings on YouTube, is that way. He knows everything that's going on, but he has no participation. And I know there are others who do that. And then there's flow state channeling, where you're blended and mostly allowing this through, but your brain is involved and still directing things. This is what a performer does. Like Michael Jackson, he was not in a trance at all. He was very present, but he was completely surrendered to the flow that came through him. So he was channeling source, but he was also present. And I like to believe that that's what I'm doing in my coaching. And even in this presentation, I can feel words coming out that I'm not planning. And so that's me surrendering to the words that want to come out, because you guys are calling for them. vibrationally, whether you're aware of it or not. You have questions, you have a reason to be here. You want something, even if you're not totally conscious of it. And my job as a channel is to just surrender to whatever comes through my mouth, comes into me, and then to just say it. And over time, I've learned to trust that. At first, you won't necessarily trust it because you'll just feel like, oh, it's just words in my head, what do I know? I can't possibly know what's right. Well, yeah, but your inner being does, because they're all connected up here. They're all talking to each other. So you can't get it wrong. So it doesn't matter how it expresses itself. Just trust that if it feels good and you can surrender to that beautiful flow state and then act on whatever that's telling you to do, then that is the right thing for you in that moment. And it doesn't mean you'll always be doing that thing, whether it can be writing a book, it can be then verbal channeling. Again, it can be motion, it can be dance, sing, playing an instrument, doesn't matter what it is. If you feel that flow happening, just trust it and step into it. We'll do more work in this group on getting into moral trance-like channeling. That's just my personal interest, but whatever you do to express it, it's the same process. It's letting go of the fears and the doubts and the old programs that are running, like what Swetha was saying, the programs that were helpful when we were a child, keeping us safe and stuffing down the emotions, are not helping right now. So we'll get in the habit of letting those go and then stepping into the trance state. Yeah, Swetha, you have a question, comment?
Yeah, yes, Kevin. So related to that, so whenever I'm doing meditations, like it happened like sometimes, so my hand just like vibrates or like, so I don't know what it means. Doesn't mean like I have to write, like I have to keep a notebook beside me. So I'm not sure. Like I
Well, the
have
fact that
had
came to
this
your mind, sorry to interrupt you.
um
Yeah, the fact that came to your mind
uh-huh.
means there's a meaning there for you.
Okay.
How would
Okay,
it feel
something.
if you just put a journal next to your bed or wherever you are and a pen?
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I would start writing. Yeah, exactly.
Does that feel like something you want to do?
Yes, that's what I want to do. So it happens like even in the late night, like I would wake up 3 a.m. and suddenly I'll feel something and I'll feel like writing it, but I won't do it. And the next morning I'll forget it. So then in the meditations I get like my hand very subtly it vibrates, like not it's just a sensation. So I think yeah, I have to write it down there.
Well, you don't have to, but would it feel good?
Yeah, it would feel good. Yes.
Okay.
Good,
You see,
okay.
we moved out of the brain and into the heart right there. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Don't put any restrictions on yourself. And I invite everybody to do that. You don't need to,
Okay.
have to, should do anything. Just does it feel good? And just do it. See
Yeah.
what happens. That's how Esther Hicks started.
Uh-huh. Yes.
And then eventually that opened up the verbal channeling that she's been doing for more than 30 years now. So it can lead to other things, but if it feels good now, then there's no reason not to do it. None at all.
Yeah, got it.
And there are other people on this call I actually happen to know who channel through writing. Yeah,
Oh,
like
okay.
Suzanne does, for instance.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
cool.
path of least resistance, the universe knows what the path of least resistance is for you in each now moment. And so your only job is to do what feels good, and then you'll receive the impulses that will guide you to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Just have fun with it. Play around with it.
Sure, Kevin. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for asking the question. As always, right on point. So the act of channeling itself is basically what we've been talking about here. It's about quieting the mind, see if you can get that brain to just slow down, not attached to the thoughts that it wants to keep thinking, because it'll talk you out of this very quickly. You don't have time. Oh, this isn't going to go anywhere. I can't do this. How dare I do this kind of thing? Who do I think I am? Nobody can make money doing this. I'm going to look weird to everybody. All that stuff will come out because that's what we've been programmed to believe when we were a lot younger. But none of that's true. We create the reality through our thoughts, through our focus. And so quieting that mind that wants to be so helpful but isn't that helpful is very helpful. Quiet the thoughts, detach from the thoughts, watch the thoughts go by, I like to picture a movie screen behind my forehead. And when I'm still chattery in my head, I actually then turn the thoughts that I'm thinking into words on the screen. And then my brain's got to keep up with that, and then it distracts it from itself. And eventually it gets tired of that, and then it just stops thinking. But there's lots of ways to do it. You can imagine the thoughts as being out there, just floating by as little bubbles or clouds. And eventually, as you slow the thoughts down by just relaxing and surrendering to the now moment, then the gap between the thoughts widens. And it's in that gap where source energy starts to flow in. The more you can slow down the thoughts, widen the gap, and if you can get to the place of absolutely no thought, pure awareness, you're aware of everything, but you have no thought about it, that's when source can flow. So it's really that easy. There's a lot of technique that can be involved in doing that, but that's essentially the first step. And like with Swetha waking up at 3 a.m., Wayne Dyer used to wake up around that time every morning, and he wrote dozens and dozens of books at that time, at exact time in the morning. So it's when it's quietest vibrationally around us, everybody's asleep. So we don't have vibrational interference. So take advantage of that time if that works for you. I'm often myself up 2, 3, 4 in the morning and having things going through my mind. So it's all ease and flow. Try not to force anything here. Another question that often comes up is, who can I channel? Who should I channel? What's the name of the beings that want to come through? What do they look like? Are they ETs? Have they been physical beings? Are they non-physical? What, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just trust that when you relax and open up the frequency and whatever, as Pat said, she didn't get names or faces with it, but she knows her team. She's felt them, and you'll know them by vibration. You'll begin to know those who resonate with you and are here to support you by how they feel when they come in. Sometimes we need names. Humans like names. Humans like identities. Non-physical is not physical, strangely enough. It's energy. And so there's no location for the consciousness. It's a weird concept. There's no time and there's no space when you move out of this third dimensional dense reality. Everything's now and everything's here. All of the universe is within each particle of the being. It's holographic in that sense. So you can tune by frequency to anything and anyone, anywhere. As we were talking about earlier, those who have been close to us, we have a strong vibrational connection to. Anyways, our brain is wired to their frequency. And so they're the easiest sometimes to relax and tune into. But you can ask for, I know people who have brought through like Jerry Hicks, for instance, or Abraham. I've had a few people who can channel the Abraham collective consciousness. It's whatever frequency you're familiar with and want to tune into, just set your intention. Just choose to focus on that frequency and then surrender to it. Don't try to make it happen and just open up to it and see what happens. So allowing whoever wants to come through whatever stream of consciousness is the easiest in my experience. And the last little bit about that, there is no singular consciousness anywhere. Everything is collective consciousness. You are collective consciousness because consciousness isn't a thing, it's a stream. And the stronger the asking, the stronger the answering, the more consciousness flows through. If you ever listen to Abraham, we've listened to probably thousands of hours of Abraham channeling in the early days before I got into the other channels. When somebody has a soft question, like, what's the meaning of life? It's like, there's no energy behind that. And Abraham will just give a kind of a bland answer. But if somebody has a really pointed question about their life that's really meaningful to them and they're really stuck and they really want the answer and they're ready to allow the answer to come through, there's powerful calling energy. Abraham and collective consciousness gets huge, and the energy that comes through, the voice gets louder, the message gets really strong, and you can feel the difference. So the power of the question is what pulls through the energy of the answer through the channel. It depends on, again, what they're looking for and how open they are to it. But so the channel doesn't have to worry about that. You don't have to choose who you're coming through. You just open up to the stream that wants to come through, and the process takes care of itself. It's really quite easy in that respect. And then the last question is, why even channel? Why do you want to do this? Like, should be obvious now, I suppose, after that meditation, because it feels good. Because there's nothing better than having source energy flowing through your body, through your this immense being that you are becoming joined back in with the wholeness of the entire universe in that moment. The idea that you can say things that have never been said before, that you can express energies that have never been expressed because you're taking source and combining it with your unique being and expressing something that's never been created unto the universe in that moment. There's nothing that feels better than that. And of course, you can make a good living at this. Some of the higher paid channels, when Wendy Kennedy was charging $450 a session before she stopped doing individual sessions and moved on to doing group sessions exclusively. And now she charges $22 per person for her individual channelings and for her group. She has a monthly program, which we're part of, called the Galactic Light Code Monthly. But she has 1,000 people in her group. So she can make $22,000 on a call. So there's no limit. Financially, you can be as set as you want to be. But once you get to this point of bringing this energy through and playing with beautiful people like you and doing what you're called, you don't care about the money because the universe just keeps supporting you. And eventually you get money and it doesn't even matter. It's like, okay, so what? I'm having more fun doing this. So it's like, if you don't let the money get in the way and just get more focused in stepping forward and doing what the fun thing is, the universe will step in and support you, either through free support, like this call, for instance. You guys all attracted this, didn't cost you anything except some time. You'll attract other kinds of support. Money will show up from other places that you had no idea it was even there. And then just one day it walks in the door. It's because you're the open frequency. All that comes from the intention to channel and opening up to that channeling frequency. And of course, then you're going to help other people. Even if you don't go into business, even if you don't ever channel for anybody except yourself, your energy field moves up and becomes immense. That emotional scale is not linear. When you move up from the bottom to the next step, 22 to 21, you've doubled the energy that's flowing through you, the source. You go from 21 to 20, you've doubled the energy that's moving. You keep doubling that 22 times, you've got about a 4 million to 1 energy ratio. You've got that much energy flowing through you. So you're immensely powerful when you're in alignment. As Abraham says, and others, one who's in alignment is more powerful than millions who are not, and that's why. It's an extremely powerful energy field. And so you light up like a Christmas tree, and those who have been looking for your energy now can find you. They'll get the impulse stream that says, oh, yeah, go on to Facebook at this specific time. And they won't even know it. They're just like, click, click, click. Oh, there you are. Wow, this person can help me out. And then they can, look how you guys just all showed up in my life, either as clients or whatever. We did no marketing. I told people, and I reached out to some of you clients privately because I knew we were going to be moving forward, but I didn't do any marketing. There's no effort involved. I'm just here to have fun, and the right people show up at the right time. And that's how it can work for you as well. So just by being yourself, you're helping the entire universe expand. You can't get it wrong. But why not make money, have fun, help others deliberately along the way while you're having fun? That's why I think channeling is so important. Hey, Anya, what you got going?
I have a question about money flowing not through us. So this is this is happening for me, and I'm like sharing, my light, helping people, but the amount of money that's flowing through it is not satisfying to my mind. But I am abundant, and the money is flowing through other sources. But then the mind is like, why can't you make it go through, what you are doing? What do you have to share about that?
Well, so you already are having abundance come through in other areas.
Yes, right? But there is still the but in my mind, like, why can't you make it through the business?
Yeah, why do you have to make it through the business?
I don't know. It's just a story that, it should.
Yeah, so that's a key word there. Should, have to, need to. Those are all somebody else's opinion that you've adopted.
Mm.
So how much rent are you going to charge for that space taken up in your brain by somebody else's thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, what if you could just build the awareness like we were talking about earlier when the program starts, catch it whenever you can, and have the awareness, oh, that's just that program that somebody else installed when I was younger.
Mm.
How much space am I going to give it? Do I want to let it keep playing? You can. You can get really depressed and sad, or not. So the sooner we start to build the emotional awareness, oh, I'm starting to not feel good, that means that your inner being is saying, well, that's not the right path then. because it's not feeling good as I think it.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, from my perspective, to program ourselves to unprogram an old feeling, an old process, is just about overriding it with a new one. Because you
It's
can't.
just, it would be this additional satisfaction.
Well, but the
So I have
satisfaction
some-
has to happen before the manifestation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How can you be satisfied with what you're doing now?
I'm so satisfied with what I'm doing
Tell me
now.
about it. Tell me about it. What satisfies you?
Like when I work with people, so what I do is I have this process that guides people into connection with their inner being. And it's just mind-blowing how they can, directly channel their own wisdom. Like I don't tell them anything. Whatever questions they have, they answer these questions for themselves in this in session with me. And it's like I feel like I talk to source every day, and it's like nothing more exciting than that. But
so right there,
yeah,
is your awareness point. No, it's okay. You're not doing anything wrong. This is about catching the patterns. They're just programs running on a computer in our brain. They don't have any opinion. They're not smart. They're just programs. And so when you hear the word but come out of your mouth and you just said something really positive, then you're about to cancel all that beautiful energy you just created. Okay, so you got a choice. Which side of the mountain do I want to start sliding down? I want to keep going down the positive side that I was just enjoying so much by describing the beauty that I experience, or do I want to cancel it all and play the old story? You get to choose.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to choose?
I'm going to choose the awesome story that I already have. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of an oversimplification, but it's a starting point. Awareness is number one. Well, all of us, awareness that I'm doing something that is not benefiting me in this moment is number one. Not that I'm doing anything wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. You can't get it wrong. If I'm having a negative emotion, that means I'm creating something positive in the future that will benefit me as I move back into the positive state. So you can't get it wrong. No matter how far you're off the path, you're not off the path. You're creating awareness of what you do want when you're not on the path. So it's all perfect. It doesn't matter whether you're enjoying what's coming from your manifestations or whether you're off creating them through a negative experience. You're still moving forward. Yeah. If it helps any, I'll share that back in October, I think it was last year, I was charging a fixed rate for my sessions, and I wouldn't take anybody who couldn't pay the fixed rate for my sessions. But there were people coming to me who couldn't pay it. They simply were not able to afford it at that time. And yet they were right where I do my best work and where I have the most fun and where they get the most value. And so, and I've had a lot of channeling support to help me make these decisions. But basically, I just said, okay, I'm just going to do anybody who comes and it'll all be free. Just for 3 months, or I didn't even have a time frame. So I'm going to just start doing free work because I love it so much. And I'm cutting my own energy off when I don't do the work that I'm here to do.
Yes.
So I started doing that, right? So you can feel that. Yeah, you would hate to stop doing this thing that you found that is so powerful for you, right? Right. So then I just started doing it. Suddenly people start showing up. They can't afford it, but that's great. I don't care. We've got money in the bank. We can live. Everything's fine, you know? And so, but around January, then I'm doing this, and I started having people saying, well, but I want to pay you. Like I do have some money. I would like to pay you some money. Maybe I can't pay the full amount, but I want to pay you something, because they want to balance the energy equation. Money's just energy. So then I figured out on our booking system, I use Acuity scheduling. There's okay, well, there's a checkbox in the settings where you can say, make it pay whatever you want, or set a minimum amount. So you can set like $50, and then they can pay 50 up, and they can type in a number. I set it to 0. So the people who can't afford anything can still just book a session whenever they want. And the people who wanted to pay something can type in a number. And I get all sorts of different numbers. $10 to $77 to $102.
Because I wanted to do it and I didn't know that it's doable in
Acuity. I didn't either until because I did.
Like technically, I didn't know that it's.
But understand that I wouldn't have understood that either if I had not just jumped in and started doing what I was passionate about. And then I opened the channel, and Source says, here's the next step. And that's how I found out that I could do it. I was in the energy field and everything flows to you. You get the answers for the next step. You got to trust the now moment though. Don't let your brain start wandering off into the future and trying to make plans and saying, oh, this doesn't work. And no, it can all work out. And so as a result, then now I get people sending me money. And I just had somebody send me more than my full price last week. It's the first time that's happened. So now there's such appreciation for the energy field that I'm in because I am having the best time and I'm creating value because I'm enjoying myself and I'm attracting people who can get the value. They're sending me even more money. So did I orchestrate that? No, I had no idea what I'm doing. I'm just doing what feels good and following the breadcrumbs. And then the next evolution from that a month or two ago was, well, now it's time. Now you are ready to truly expand into groups. And so suddenly here we are. So I didn't orchestrate any of this. I just followed, like, this is not feeling good. What else can I do to feel good? Even if it feels counter to what people say I should do or the way you should market or should run your business, you just do what feels good. I think you're doing fine myself. You're in that passionate place. Build awareness of when I'm slipping down the slope. Be easy on yourself and get back on the horse. That
and
easy?
the way that is building, I know it because my mind is like quieter and quieter, and it's like receiving that, like I am receiving my own guidance, and I'm aware of it, and even if it's not like exactly how the mind wants, I'm still like in peace. And so
doesn't get better than that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Great question. Thank you for asking. And hey, my door's open. You want to book a session anytime. It's the same with everybody. I know a lot of you guys already are clients. Doesn't matter what you pay me, because I now know that if I do what I love, whether the money comes from the clients or from these other places, that I will be supported. And I want you to know that too.
And I am supported. Like the realization of my entire life is that I've been always supported, no matter what.
That's not going to end.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I know that I created that too, but there's this, like, it's not directly through me.
Yeah,
so
there's that word "but" again. So go sit with that for a moment.
Okay, yeah. Blah, blah, blah.
Thank you. Thanks for your question.
Thank
That was a powerful question for everybody.
That was. I'm sorry, I just have to say, I just love that, Anya, that you raised your hand with a different question and got the answer to what you was rolling around in the back of your mind unknowingly. Like, I didn't know there was a way people could pay what they wanted. I mean, that just was so beautiful. It just shows you, like, when you're in the energy of wanting to know something, and even if you don't ask the first question, I mean, the one question you ask will lead, as you're open to receive, to what you were searching for. It's just a perfect example.
Nice attracting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we got about 15 minutes left here, and I do need a few minutes at the end to chat about next steps. So let's jump into the going into business side of things. We'll just take a few minutes on this. For the record, going into business. I have no other slides around that, so we'll just turn that right back off. And going into business can sound daunting. Some of you are already in business, and I know you're making money, and I know others of you are thinking about it and would love to, but think, oh God, that sounds overwhelming to me. It sounds daunting. It sounds, and there are some steps to doing it. But the reality is that if you have something to offer somebody, and you want, even if you want to start by not charging anything, that's how I started. I just did things for free way back when I first started coaching many years ago. The tools are here. I mean, you got Zoom. Everybody's got a Zoom, right? You can just do a Zoom session. You have somebody say, okay, I want to talk with you. I don't know why, but I know you've got something to offer me. And you say, of course, let's set up a Zoom session. So you get on your calendars and you both connect via Zoom and you have the conversation. Boom, you're in business. Okay. Now, have you made any money? No, but how hard was it to do that? Yeah, nothing. There's no effort involved, except the emotional side that says, oh, I don't have anything to offer. Oh, what if I get it wrong? What if I mess things up? What if they blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's the but going on, right? Awareness, that energy is going on, and you deal with the energy and say, okay, well, but I'm going to try it anyway because I can't get it wrong. And make it as small as you need to in order to step forward. I'll talk for 15 minutes and then we'll be done. That's as long as I'll talk to you on the phone. Okay, because that felt good. I can do 15 minutes. I could do 10 minutes. Okay, you get to set. You get to decide the parameters. What feels best to you, and then people are going to start. If they're not already coming to you, they will come to you soon, guys, because you guys all have this energy field of wanting to help others and the ability to tune in to the streams of consciousness. You do. And you are helping people now just by being yourselves, daily contact. Why not take it to the next step? So start practicing with people that you can trust, or even if they're just people who come up to you. Sometimes people come up on the street, but just start telling you their life story. Well, that tells you there's a vibrational connection. I know a lot of you have had that experience. So you can say, well, I'm just getting started with this, with some guidance work, and use generic terms if you want. Here's my phone number. Let's set up a Zoom session. Maybe we'll just talk for a few minutes. You can help me out, and maybe I can help you out. But boom, it's that easy. You just get started. In terms of the actual business itself, I like to tell people in channeling that if you really want to get started, you just need a way to take money. You can get a PayPal account, a Venmo account, a free pay Cash App kind of thing. And then it's just doing the Zoom session, but send me money on my account, and then we'll do the Zoom session. Okay. Again, boom, you're in business. Okay. You go to the next step, get a booking system like Acuity Scheduling is my favorite. It's one I set up for clients, other clients. Very powerful, not expensive at all. I think it's for the professional one where you can do packages. I think it's $19 US a month, something like that. I mean, it's nothing. Your first session will pay for it. And then now you can not only book clients, but you can tap into either PayPal or Stripe and have a free merchant account. And then that actually offers them the ability to pay via credit card and debit card. And that comes in through Acuity, goes to Stripe, goes into your checking account. You do nothing. And that's all just a few hours worth of setup here and there to get that working. So again, that's all you got to do. Now you've got an automated system. You put out your Acuity page to the public. They give you a little link. Somebody comes to you, says, I want to book some time with you. Say, here's my link. And they type that in, and it goes to your page, and it's got, I'll talk to you for 30 minutes, and here's what I offer. And then they put in their credit card. The money goes into your bank account. You get a notification via email. They get a notification. All this is automatic, again, for about $19 a month, or whatever it costs. I don't know what it costs now. And then you can then attach it to your calendar if you want. If you've got a Google Calendar, I have Outlook. And so now Acuity will actually put it on your calendar for you, all automatic. And then it shows up in your Zoom panel. You get the notification, oh, it's time to go to my meeting. You hop onto your Zoom. It says, oh, have a channeling session or a coaching session, whatever with, click the button, up comes the window, they're on the other end, you have your session. You can even record it. That's all free, part of the Zoom account. You do have to have a paid Zoom account to connect those together in Acuity. I think that was $15 a month. So in terms of mechanics, those are sort of the evolutionary steps. You can be in business tomorrow if you choose to be. So it's really that easy. Moving beyond that, as you start actually making money, you will want to get financial advice, particularly taxes. Every country pretty much has taxes. You want to be sure that you're taking care of the taxes. And sometimes there's other things that go on in different countries. In the US, we have self-employment tax of 14%, and you have to send that in every quarter. So now you're starting to move. If you're making enough money where you're actually supporting yourself, you do have to be cognizant that I got to take a percentage off and send it off to the government every quarter. And again, they make it pretty easy to do that. But having a good tax person can be helpful, where you just pay them. And then you keep growing your business a little bit more. Maybe you want to get a support person, somebody to kind of arrange things for you, maybe take care of your business so that you can keep doing just the part that you love. Really, that's an important evolutionary step for those who are really wanting to expand. Get people to support you in that process. And then just decide how much you want to make. How much do you want to make? How much do you want the universe to bring in? You're setting the valve, remember? How much do you want to make? Don't play it small, because when you play it small, you restrict the energy flow and you restrict the clients that can come. The whole thing gets restricted when you play small. Stretch yourself. Play around with lots of money in your mind. See how big you can allow it to be. And the universe will provide. It's not hard. Just takes a little intention, a little effort. overcome those barriers. You're supposed to be wealthy. You're supposed to have fun. You're supposed to be abundant. You're supposed to feel love. You're supposed to be in joy. You're supposed to have a good time. It's the way the system is designed. So that's basically my 2 cents about business. There's, of course, a lot more details which you can go into, but any one of you guys, even the non-tech people, can find your way through this and get support. I'm happy to answer questions if anybody has a question around that. Basically, that's kind of the bottom line. Any quick questions before we move on? Oh, I see there's a couple comments here. Yeah, Denai Novo is one of my channeling clients. She's actually gone into business for herself and is quickly becoming quite successful. She's a very good channel. She said she started with PayPal, yeah, and then I helped her set up Acuity, and now people can do all the things that we just talked about. She's now out there doing, and her group sessions are really powerful. And her individual sessions are too. And if you guys want to sample channeling, if you've never been to had a channeling session with somebody, get out there and do it. Find somebody that resonates with you so you can get a taste of what it feels like to be on the receiving side of a channeled message. I tell you, I became addicted when it first happened to me, and I've had hundreds and hundreds of channeling sessions with all sorts of different people, starting with Abraham in the early days when I got called into the hot seat, and then moved into, private sessions and so forth. But you guys can all do this. So don't let it stop you. Get out there and Denai is a great place to start if you want to sample a channeling session. I speak very highly of her, but there's of course plenty of others. I see Christina says, "What's the best way to get practice? The only thing holding me back is doubt." Yeah, sure, I get it, Christina. And so one of the things that we'll be doing, we can, I guess, maybe get into in a second. We'll get into the group program, the monthly program, which will answer that question about getting practice. But are there any quick questions before we kind of start the wrap-up cycle here? I want to honor your time. Hopefully we won't go over more than a couple minutes. I hope I didn't dump too much on you. You can tell I love this stuff. All right, well then, first just let me say that we're going to do this workshop again in a week, but it'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So for some of you that might not be viable. But again, the idea is that I wanted to get doing it at this time allows the European contingent to show up here, which I know a number of you guys are from that area. And then doing it at 7 p.m. will allow the Australian, Tasmanian continent to show up. So that's the next one is available, and that's at the same linking site, the same booking site that you went to for this workshop. It's there. Anna, do you have a quick question?
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. So the next session that is for the Australian people, is it going to be the same session as today or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Going to repeat the same information. Ultimately, like I said, this is going to lead into multiple workshops, and I may do one on going into business as another free workshop, but the long-term goal is then to start doing this as a monthly program, and I'm calling that program IntuitiveConneXion, and I'll put the information up on the screen here. The idea is, and I'm probably going to start really cheap, like $29 a month, because that feels like the right number for me, and we'll do these kinds of things, but they'll be ongoing in a private group setting. So only people who are part of the membership will be able to get into these other kinds of workshops that I was mentioning early on. And there will also be practice sessions. We'll actually do live practicing of channeling. Like we did a little bit of that in the guided meditation today, but we'll just extend that beyond. And like Christina was asking about getting the practice, then that's the first way. And the second way is that, and I've done this in the past with another private group I had, we'll set up practice partners. And you guys can practice through Zoom yourselves privately at your own convenience, and we can swap practice partners. And I've even done when we were doing it physically here in our home, this is some years ago, we set up a timer, and we can actually do this in Zoom where we can have practice rooms where there'll be 2 of you in the room, and you can practice for 15 minutes until the timer goes off, and then you swap partners. I haven't done that on Zoom. I've done it in person, and that's really powerful. It's hard to get people to stop talking, to be honest. Once you open the door and you start to realize how fun this is and how much you want to get to know each other, it's a lot of fun. So that's how we'll do practicing. And then there's also, you can practice with, again, people in your life, the people that you trust and who you know won't shoot you down. Maybe you have a close friend or somebody you met here on this group, you can reach out to them and just set up a time to play around with the energy without expectation. Don't be attached to the outcome. Looks like Denai has put some free channel samples from YouTube in her blog right here in the chat. So if you guys can see that, you can copy the chat out. I think there's a download button someplace on this if you want to copy any of these links, or just copy it manually from the chat here. So what's next then? Let's go into, where is my screen? Here we go. All right, so in terms of what I have to offer, most of you guys know about Lightworker Exchange. That's the free Facebook group, but we meet every week, and on Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Eastern, we do a guided meditation, and we just have this kind of casual chat around channeling and manifestation, synchronicities, just whatever feels like fun. So that's a place that if you can make it, I know some of you the time zone doesn't work because it's at 7 p.m. Eastern, but the recordings of each meeting are available on Facebook. We live stream to Facebook too, as well as doing Zoom. So you can always sit in on that. What I was just talking about, Intuitive Connection, this is the monthly program that I was just referring to. In fact, I'm going to pop that in the chat here too. And so if you want to, that's not launched yet. I'm just playing around with the free workshops. I haven't done workshops in a couple of years, so I just wanted to get the feel. I wanted to get back in the flow of doing a workshop and see how it felt. And so the Intuitive Connection monthly program, eventually the subscription system will be set up. I don't know when it's going to be, sometime this summer. But if you're interested, just get on the mailing list. If you go to that page, intuitiveconnexion.com, it shows you how to get on our mailing list. And if you check the box that said, put me on the mailing list when you signed up for this program, then you're already on the mailing list. So you don't have to do anything. I'll just reach out when it gets going. And then the last thing, I think a lot of you who are already clients know about this. If you go to intuitivecoachkevin.com, and if you want to work privately, do some private sessions, and you can book through that. You can also do a discovery session if you don't, not sure if you want to work with me, and that's free. And I only keep 10 slots available per week for my private coaching, and often it's less than that because I do have other things that are going. So if you want one of those slots during the week, then you can go ahead and book it in advance. And so I think that is most of what I have here. So real quick, I know we're going to go over just a couple minutes. Anybody want to share a takeaway that you might have about being here today? Like, what's the thing you're going to do differently? What affected you the most? I'll take 2 people. Or was this just a waste of an hour and a half? You can put it in the chat too. Yeah, Swetha.
Yes. So the takeaway that I take is that prepayment and setting intentions before going and doing whatever we do. So I think being intentional will help a lot. So yeah, so that's my takeaway.
Nice. Thanks for bringing that to the surface for all of us. We really appreciate that. Hey, and there's my friend Denai. Hey, Denai, what's your takeaway? Are you there? Can't hear you.
Oh, you're muted somehow.
Yeah, your mic, you're not muted on Zoom, but you're muted with your headset. Maybe just unplug your headset. Or do sign language. Yeah, just use
All right, how about
there you are.
Okay, yay.
now? Headset ruins everything. Yeah, the takeaway wasn't actually, I mean, all the stuff that you said, I thought to myself, if I had heard this, a few years ago, it would have been awesome. But you know the journey, but it was a great reminder of where I used
to.
So, oh no, did I mute again?
No, you're back. You must have had a call or something come in.
Okay. I'm on my phone. I should have just come on my computer. Anyway, no, you gave me a flashback to where I used to be, and seeing the path that I had taken. And I remember when I started with the business, prior to you and I working together, I was thinking to myself, I'm never going to get this. I'm never going to go anywhere with this. And then things just happened to materialize one after the other. And even the struggle, even though the struggle was there, everything was coming together. And everything was like what you were saying. I got to go back mentally and go, yep, that's where it started. Yep, that's where it led to next. Yep, that's the next part. So I'm waiting for you to tell me where the next steps are so that I can just take those now.
I'm afraid you know too much. You know the answer to that.
Yeah, no. And honestly, the stuff is saying follow your joy. It's a great reminder, because when you start the business, you always think, well, what can I do next to increase my income? But you focus on the fun. So the biggest takeaway is the reflection on my growth and to focus on the fun. So thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing it tonight. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
So then I'll leave you with this one last.
Can I share a little bit?
What's that? Oh, did I hear something? Oh, Susan. Yeah.
It was me. Sorry, takeaway if we have time. I really appreciated hearing from Anya. I don't think I've spoken to her since 2016 Land Cruise.
Oh, wow.
But we are Facebook friends. The idea, and I meant to post it to the group, but I accidentally sent it to Suzanne. I wrote, this is what came to me: let go of the need to prove the value of your work through monetary evidence.
Oh, wow. That was really good. Prove your
and
worth.
I think this is
good.
Something that a lot of us feel. It's like, oh, it's not worth anything, and people are going to say that I'm doing something that is a waste of time, and like, where's the proof? Where's the money in hand that shows other people that what I'm doing is actually worthwhile, right?
Yes,
And
exactly.
that's a big limiting belief, I think, that we're experiencing as a group. And I recalled something that Abraham had said in one of the sessions, where someone said, Abraham, I wrote a book, and how do I get that published? And they said, write another book.
Write another book. Yeah.
It wasn't about the process of trying to struggle through finding out a way to, it was no, keep the energy moving, keep the energy moving. And that connected so well with what you shared, Kevin, about just opening yourself to have sessions regardless of the price. It's not about the price. The money will come eventually. If you keep the energy flowing, right? Or the way to publish will come eventually, or. We get stuck on those things instead of doing the work that we love.
I love that. I love that statement. Thanks for bringing that right into focus. Yeah, your worth is intringent, right? It's intringent. God, I can't speak English anymore. Thank you. From the English
I'm an
teacher.
English teacher. It just so happens.
Couldn't have been more perfect. Thanks so much, Susan. I'm so glad you could make it today.
Thanks, everyone.
And so I'm going to leave you with this. All right. They say this is 5 million people. It might be a stretch. Can you feel into that energy for a minute? So these are the millions of souls who are ready for your gifts right now. This is no joke. If you're feeling inspired to do something, if it lights you up, this is what you're feeling. This is the calling that is trying to come through you as a channel. I had a channel tell me this once in session, and it blew my mind. If you're feeling inspired to do something, it's because there's somebody who wants it. But feel the love of these people who are so eager for you to come online and be who you are and have fun and connect with them and support them. And let that be your mantra moving forward. Well, thanks so much for joining us here today, guys. This was a blast, went better than I expected. And I really appreciate your support in my first step back into the coaching and group sessions. It's just so much fun. So I'll get back to you about the recording when we're all, when it all comes together here, if you want to play it back. And feel free to share this with your friends if you know somebody who might be interested in the next session. I'd love to see more people jump into this energy because it's just so important for the planet right now. So thanks again. Namaste to all of you. Love you guys all so much for being here. Thanks so much and best of luck in your journeys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.